Welcome to our presentation. Today we are going to go over the social structure chapter from Van Dijk's book Code Network Society. Our names are Velina and Nadezhda, and in the next 15 minutes we will give a brief explanation on this subject based on our personal perception.
Today's topic will cover the following subjects: space and time involvement in the network society, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of teleworking and distance education. Afterwards, we're going to discuss the rise of social media and its different effect on our daily life. Last point will be focused on the digital divide between genders and generations.
Now we are going to talk about the role of space and time in a self-organizing society. Networks shape systems in nature and society. They are the structures of communication that are organized as contexts of interaction. Social space involves a setting of human bodies and artifacts, changing distances between humans and objects, certain borders and communication technologies that allow the stretching of system boundaries in time-space. Space is the material environment and area of interaction. It is produced in communication processes, and it is the distance between things and bodies that communication processes traverse. Space is the territory of a system, the field that is produced by and enables interactions. The space of the interactions of two friends comprises their bodies, the physical surroundings, buildings, room, furniture, and the interaction medium, such as a language and the sound waves.
Let's now explore more about the teleworking. But first, what is teleworking? This is the use of home computers and telephones that enable a person to work from home while maintaining contact with colleagues, customers, or a central office. It's also called telecommuting. However, teleworking provides a number of advantages and disadvantages for the employee. One advantage could be that teleworking frees up the time each day spent traveling to work. It also saves the cost of using car or public transport to travel to work. Teleworking provides an opportunity for flexible working around career responsibilities. At the same time, it provides a better balance between work and family life. However, there are some disadvantages as well. A teleworker may feel isolated because they miss the social interaction from their colleagues at work. The person may be unable to work effectively because of distractions in home environment, or may not have the space to provide a sustainable environment for teleworking. Furthermore, it may lack the self-discipline to work unsupervised from home. As an example, we could look at the recent campaign that was widely spread among different social platforms. There was an ad appealing users to join the remote year movement, which allows people to become part of business community while traveling and working at the same time. In this way, a person could become an employee who works and communicates largely to the use of information and communications technologies, rather than traveling and conducting business face-to-face.
Nowadays, with the advanced technologies and the wide use of the internet, students have the possibility to choose an online and flexible way of learning. Distance education allows students to study on their own time at the place of their choice, for example at their home, at their work, or at a learning center, and similar to a teleworking without face-to-face contact with a teacher. Technology is a critical element of distance education. Like any kind of educational program, distance education comes with a host of pros and cons. First, I'm going to talk about the advantages of distance education. This kind of program allows a lot of flexibility. With distance learning courses, students can complete their coursework from just about anywhere, provided there is a computer and an internet connection. Secondly, there are no travel costs attached to it. Taking a course online can be one way to cut down on costly gas or public transportation. Since students can often work from home to complete their class assignments, both time and money are saved in cutting out the trips to and from classes. Another advantage is the variety of school choices. Even if you live in a community with few or no colleges, distance learning allows you to choose from a wide variety of schools to complete your education. Moreover, you can learn while working. It is much easier to complete distance learning courses while working than more traditional educational programs. Nevertheless, distance learning has some disadvantages, such as lack of social interaction. You will likely get some interaction on chat rooms, discussion boards and through email, but the experience will be quite different than traditional courses where you actually socialize with other students. Also, some employers don't accept online degrees. While a majority of employers will, there are still some employers that do not accept such degrees. As a final point, I would like to mention that not all university courses may be offered for online education. It makes sense that more practical majors such as nursing aren't offered entirely online. After all, part of the degree is learning to work directly with patients.
Now let's have a look on a short video explaining social media revolution through the years. I would like to talk about the contradictional effects of social media in our daily life. Even though many people are extremely positive about the way that the internet allows them to feel more connected to others, it might lead to social isolation and cause a decrease in interpersonal interaction. Although email and instant chat applications seem to afford an isolation solution, allowing rapid communication with more people in less time at any time of the day, such social technologies thus have potential and actual antisocial consequences. In particular, that use of such social technology diminishes as internet use goes up, suggests that while the internet may not be inherently antisocial, high use of the internet very likely causes social isolation. The internet has a complex effect on personal social lives. On one hand, it brings together individuals and groups in ways that previously were impossible. On the other hand, it may replace more connective, meaningful contact with less personal, weaker social ties.
Social media has different negative effects. An example could be the Facebook addiction, as this is one of the most popular social platforms used among online users. Negative effects of Facebook addiction can be the following: privacy blow-up. The most dangerous negative effect of Facebook is that users' personal data becomes public on this social networking website. This could pose a threat to the privacy of the users. Another example is not caring about their surroundings. If someone is addicted to Facebook, then there is a high possibility that they would not care about their surroundings. The only thing a Facebook addict would be concerned about will be their virtual world. Such a person will only be curious to know who has written on their wall, commented on their pictures, or commented on their status. This type of behavior will gradually take them away from spending time with friends and family. For Facebook addicts, family doesn't come first, but Facebook does. For them, Facebook friends are more important than their own family members. Let's continue now at looking more of this in detail. Facebook is also bad for your health. Being overweight is another harmful side effect of excessive Facebook usage. Sitting in front of the monitor all the time without any physical activities will eventually result in accumulation of all those extra pounds. And it's a fact that being obese or overweight can dramatically increase the risk of developing many serious medical conditions, including diabetes, high blood pressure, or other diseases. For students, it is also a time-consuming, since it can reduce the time for studying. Facebook can negatively affect a teen's young adult's education too. It has been proven that students who check their Facebook account often have poor academic performance compared to those who don't use the social media very often. And finally, Facebook can be seen as a possibility of conflict. Facebook also increases the chances of online conflict. Facebook is populated with immature people who create bizarre statuses, upload awkward pictures, and carry out illogical actions. And this can lead to conflicts with others.
Social media creates a digital divide between genders. Generally, it's very important to make a gender difference in the use of information technologies and the internet. It is well known that men use the internet more frequently and for a longer duration than women. Apparently, women have a more pragmatic attitude towards computers. Aggressive, shoot them all, computer games are typically used by males. From different study researches, we observe that a computer use and the internet fits into different activity patterns, attributing different meanings and values to these activities. Other studies affirm that the girls use the internet for social reasons, and they're more insecure and less confident in their abilities when using the internet than boys. Little is known about gender difference among elderly internet users. Another study found that male seniors mostly go online for information or to pursue their hobbies, whereas women prefer to use the internet to communicate with close friends and family. We presume that the internet interest of elderly male users is somehow influenced by their former job experience.
Not only digital divide between genders, but also social media creates digital divide between generations. Technology is growing at a significant rate. Many companies are moving their activities onto the internet, and new businesses are being developed that operate purely on the internet. There is a significant divide between the older and the younger generation due to technology. We are going to give some more explanation and examples about the way millennials and the baby boomers generation use technologies. The millennials are the first generation to grow up with the internet. Emotions, thoughts, ideas, passions, as well as money, business, commerce, and research all take place online. It's not the same for those that grew up before the millennial generation. They are more comfortable with information and technology. They are known as being technologically savvy. Millennials grew up in the age of technology and are taking advantage of it. Younger adults routinely use technology in their day-to-day lives. They have a good technology understanding and keep up quite well with its advances. Also called the Net generation, understands digital technology not only because they are required to learn to use the computer through education, but also they enjoy the discovery of learning that the computers and internet provide. Between blogs, Facebook, Twitter, and smartphones applications, Generation Net is using technology constantly. All of these help satisfy their emotional and functional needs. Now let's take a look at the baby boomers generation, which are born between the years of 1946 and 1964, which are not big fans of technology. The older adults do not have much interest in learning how to use the computer and often don't see the amount of benefits it could possibly have. They feel they have sufficient access to the world by television and telephone, and that it takes too much effort to learn and to be up to date about the internet. Baby boomers do not have much interest with technology because they are more used to reasoning, systematic and logical thinking, a linear step-by-step process which are good for formal learning but turn out to be an obstacle when dealing with new technologies. Furthermore, because of special health needs such as mobility, eyesight, hearing, some seniors with special needs simply cannot take advantage of many technology-based services that have become part of our lives. For example, a large number of elderly cannot read text on the screen or use a keyboard due to visual impairments or other physical or psychological handicaps. Another thing is that product developers do not care very much about the fact that elderly cannot use tiny mobile telephones very well, or that they are unable to decode all of the icons. Producers of electronic devices widely neglect the needs of the elderly. The personal computer itself is too complex, and only the very enthusiastic are willing to care about new upgrades, read incomprehensive instructions, and buy specialized magazines offering tips and tricks.
We would like to thank you for your attention. We hope that you enjoyed our presentation.